Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
My anus is bleeding!
He can't sit down.
They call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Beta male.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you, don't do it.
Oops.
We're under attack. It is an alien force, not of this world. It's not human intelligence.
Bullshit.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Bullshit.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
Repeat the line.
Disappointed!
How you like that, boy?
No.
Give me a break.
Stop it.
Fired.
Fired! Fired!
Bitch, move it along.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police.
Domination. Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Thursday. We got just jam-packed show today. We've got right-wingers fighting each other, and it's awesome. Lots of different feuds going on here. Members of the right wing. We got Steve Bannon ripping into Jim Jordan. Oh. We got Marjorie Greene versus Boebert. Yes. We got Kari versus Jenna Ellis. Oh, it's so much fun. Moms for Liberty literally quotes Hitler. That's wow, that's quite a story. And then, we're going to find out who is actually spearheading, at least when it comes to the money, the attacks on ESG. And so, remember, right-wingers, right now, at war with so-called woke capitalism. You're not going to be surprised who's funding it. But anyway, we've got the details on that according to a new report. Oh, fun times, fun story. Let's do it. Some days, I love the news. Other days, not so much. But let's do it. Before you do, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Now let's do it. Oh yeah, we're going to start out with the John Durham stuff that happened yesterday as well. So, all right. John Durham, the special counsel appointed by Donald Trump to uncover the crime of the century, did not, in fact, uncover the crime of the century, or really that much. In fact, really nothing that we didn't already know. Well, he was recently brought into the House to testify in front of the Judiciary Committee and ended up embarrassing himself even further than he already has been. Take a look.
Did it take 4 years to complete?
Correct.
Okay. And with all these resources and all these people you were sent to help you investigate the investigators, you only filed 3 criminal cases. You only brought 2 cases to trial, correct?
Correct.
And you lost all the cases you brought to trial, correct?
Correct.
In fact, 2 juries acquitted your defendants on all charges. And the one conviction that you obtained, the defendant pleaded guilty to a single count that never went to trial, correct?
Correct.
And none of the individuals you prosecuted were ever charged with being part of a hoax or a fraud or a witch hunt or a politically motivated deep state conspiracy against Donald Trump. Isn't that correct?
I would not say that that's accurate.
You mean you did charge somebody with being a part of a hoax?
We charged Mr. Sussman with having knowingly provided false information to the FBI regarding Alpha Bank.
But he was acquitted, though, right? After
Well, that wasn't your question.
Mr. Sussman was acquitted after you charged him, correct?
Grand jury found
He was found innocent by a unanimous jury of 12.
That's not true.
Well,
what's true is the grand jury found probable cause to indict Mr. Sussman.
A jury of his peers acquitted him, though, correct?
Oof. Oh, that is not going well. Okay, so look, 4 years, $6.5 million. Later, there was no deep state conspiracy. I mean, hey, well done, John. Nailed it. You actually disproved. I know that wasn't your aim, but you actually disproved the right-wing conspiracy theorists. Congratulations. Nailed it. Now, one of the things that actually happened as a result of both this investigation and actually, I'm going to give more credit to the Horowitz report, is there were some changes at the FBI. I'm not a fan of the FBI. As a leftist, the FBI has been usually used to, go after portions of the left, minorities specifically. And so I welcome oversight and I welcome changes to the FBI. And so one of the ones has to do with, getting FISA warrants and all that stuff. And again, most of the problems that were identified in this report were problems that were previously identified and fixed following the OIG report from Horowitz. So what this did is that it was basically a waste of time and money and failed to do anything the right wing wanted it to do. Now, again, if the right wing's aim was, hey, we need to fix a little bit of, stuff at the FBI, we identified some issues here, and we should fix those to make sure that everybody gets fair, honesty, whatever. Well, that was not what they were going for. Remember, the whole purpose was to investigate the investigators, uncover the crime of the century, punish the FBI for interfering in elections. Well, that's not what happened because they didn't actually do that. Oh, but it actually gets better because I only showed you a couple of the times where Mr. Durham got clowned. But there's another video here, and it's Representative Adam Schiff and a line of questioning from him, which got Durham to basically admit something rather uncomfortable.
Mr. Durham, you're aware of Donald Trump's public statements along the lines of, hey, Russia, if you're listening, hack Hillary's emails, you'll be richly rewarded by the press. You aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
And are you aware that Mueller found that hours after he made that plea for Russian help, the Russians, in fact, tried to hack one of the email servers affiliated with the Clinton campaigner family?
If that happened, I'm not aware of that. I mean, it could very well.
You're not aware of that in the Mueller report?
There was a suggestion of a suggestion that the Russians could help. They had damaging information as to Mrs. Clinton. And
by releasing it anonymously, right? And that's exactly what happened, isn't it?
I don't.
You really don't know?
I'm not sure exactly. When you say exactly what happened.
Well, the Russians released stolen emails through cutouts, did they not?
There were emails.
It's a very simple question. Did they release information, stolen information through cutouts, yes or no?
Yeah, I'm not sure that.
You really don't know the answer to that? Now, that information, of course, was helpful to the Trump campaign, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question, but that the Russians intruded into,
I just want to
hacked into the systems, they released information.
And that was helpful to the Trump campaign, right?
And the conclusion in the ICA and in the Mueller investigation was that the Russians intended to assist.
Can you answer my question, Mr. Durham? That was helpful to the Trump campaign, right?
Yeah, that's.
And Trump made use of that, as I said, didn't he, by touting those stolen documents on the campaign trail over 100 times?
I said, I don't really read the newspapers or listen to the news. I don't
really,
find all that reliable, so I don't know that.
Mr. Durham, you're totally oblivious to Donald Trump's use of the stolen emails on the campaign trail more than 100 times? Did that escape your attention?
I am not aware of that.
Oh, damn. Oh, stop. He's already dead. I'm sorry. I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that. I don't know that, but okay, yeah, there was no question that it did help Trump, but actually, oh God, I don't want to say it. At what point was John Durham, I mean, I should say, what is John Durham aware of? I mean, if he's not aware of any of this other stuff that happened to be happening all around the investigation, the Mueller investigation, that you claim to investigate that you didn't even read. Again, certainly you're not aware of a deep state plot to stop Donald Trump because it never happened. It's nonsense. The entire narrative that the government is weaponized against Donald Trump. No, that's just not the reality. Did they like him? No, of course. They hated him. They hate Donald Trump. They despised him because he's an incompetent moron. And by the way, that's according to people who had worked for Donald Trump, former Trump officials, who thought they could, working for Trump, get a nice plum position. Yeah, okay, he's a bit crass on the campaign trail, but people tend to like that. He says it the way it is. He talks like a real person, like with a fifth grade, education. But okay, we can understand him. Okay, but he's not really that stupid, though. Okay, and then they start to work for him, and they realize, oh my God, this guy's a moron. Like he actually is this way in real life. I thought this was just a shtick, a way to get dumb people to vote for him. No, turns out he's actually as dumb as they are. In fact, probably more so. Oh God, what have we done? Again, the whole purpose of these people working for him is to advance their careers and realize they were working for an unhinged madman with the maturity level of a 5-year-old and the intelligence to match. Durham, again, in this hearing, pretty obvious he got bodied. Okay? I mean, it was so bad that Republicans literally voted to censure Adam Schiff. I mean, along party lines, 213 Republicans voted in favor of censuring him, and 209 Democrats against, obviously, and they reprimanded him for trying to draw a link between Donald Trump and Russia. This was bad. This was bad for him, so bad. Okay. Now, the thing about it is that it might actually be worse for Durham. Turns out he might have actually lied during his testimony. So this talks about the Trump Tower meeting, right? So you remember the Trump Tower meeting where you had Don Jr. meeting with Russian agent Natalia Veselnitskaya, who claimed to have some damaging information about Hillary Clinton. So now they downplayed that. In fact, here's what Durham had to say about it. Quote, people get phone calls all the time from individuals who claim to have information like that. Now, Schiff asked, are you really trying to diminish the importance of what happened here? During this meeting? Where, again, you had representatives from a foreign country coming in and meeting with representatives from a political campaign about information that could be damaging to an opponent's campaign. Now, look, the more complete story, according to Durham, is that, well, okay, so they met and it was a lie. They didn't actually have damaging information about Hillary Clinton. They didn't even talk about her. Well, that's because she didn't actually have any damaging information at Hillary Clinton at the time. But Don Jr. was totally interested in talking about it. The report noted that Trump Jr. had asked follow-up questions about how the alleged payments, these alleged payments to the Clinton Foundation, whatever, could be tied to specifically to the Clinton campaign. Veselnitskaya had responded that she could not trace the money once it entered the United States, and quotes a meeting participant who recounted that Trump Jr. asked what they, quote, the Russians have on Clinton. So that was the whole point. Don Jr.'s like, oh, you got some information for me? You got some information that will help us in our political campaign against Hillary Clinton? Give it. What you got? In a subsequent interaction, Representative Tom McClintock noted that the central charge in the Russia collusion hoax, they say, was that Trump campaign operatives were in contact with Russian intelligence sources. Durham claimed that there was no such evidence, but that appears to also be false. Again, you had Konstantin Kilimnik, who met with Paul Manafort several times. Now, that said, with these seeming lies that Durham had spouted. Or either that, or he apparently didn't read anything. Oh, I don't really know about I didn't read the report. I don't watch the news. What do you do all day? How are you investigating the investigators if you don't know a damn thing about what's going on? It's pretty obvious. But that said, look, Durham, I don't see him getting hit for that. Of course not. Charged. But at the end of the day, the right wing, well, they were not helped by this hearing. It didn't do anything to help them and their narrative, and it also didn't really help to do anything to enact changes at the FBI, which, I'm welcome to see, because I would actually like our law enforcement agencies to not do political persecutions and investigations. That would be great. That would be great. It's just not happening to the right. But again, the whole thing, this entire hearing, was just an embarrassing faceplant that did more to help the election campaign of Adam Schiff, more than anything, than to actually try to rein in the alleged weaponized government. Okay. Moving on. We have more. More hilarious reaction by the right wing. Convicted fraudster and conservative podcast host Steve Bannon is not happy with Representative Jim Jordan. On Wednesday, Jordan held a hearing on former special counsel John Durham's investigation into the FBI, which many are seeing as a complete and utter flop. Where's the crime of the century? Where is it? Where is it? Now, Bannon, however, he has harsher words for Jim Jordan and the hearing itself. Let's take a look.
That thing was a debacle yesterday. Can Jordan, as head of judiciary, continue, knowing that we didn't get the answers and you laid out, and I'd like you to tell us who should be called before the committee. Can we have Jordan reinitiate this at judiciary? Jordan was pathetic. He tried to make Clark. Did he try to saint Durham? Did he try to make Durham Saint Durham?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Intel Committee is a disaster because they're not going after anything. They're not going after Sequoia. They've suppressed that. You've got Jim Jordan. Let's be blunt. The judiciary, if you didn't have Matt Gaetz yesterday and a couple of others, nothing. They were making him St. Durham, and it's a disaster. Particularly for guys like you and John Summon and others, Hannity, that did a good job in trying to support this guy and get information out over years and years and years to see him. And he's also a pathetic human being. He was a homunculus yesterday, right? It was just some worm, right? That was getting beaten by the Democrats and then trying to be held up by the Republicans until Gaetz came in and said, "Hey, this was an op."
Okay. Well. That, my friends, is what they call cope and seethe. Look, the hearing was an absolute disaster. It was a debacle for Republicans. Their entire narrative, again, is that, we've got this report from John Durham. He was investigating the investigators, and that proves that there's a deep state conspiracy against Donald Trump, the FBI, and the Department of Justice. But that's not actually what Durham's report said. Now, the report said that, hey, the FBI, you should be a little bit more careful before launching into investigation of a sitting president. Maybe do a pre-investigation, pre-look into it and try to verify some of the claims, which is totally reasonable. Okay? Now, they also find issues with the Pfizer court, for example, getting a warrant out to spy on Carter Page. But again, all of that stuff was already referenced by the Horowitz report. And subsequently, the FBI had fired a bunch of people involved in it, and then, tried to institute some changes, okay? So there's really no point in rehashing the Horowitz report, which is exactly pretty much what John Durham did. Now, that said, you heard Bannon right there at the end talking about Matt Gaetz saying, well, obviously this whole thing's an op. Wait, well, hold on here. What? Again, cope and seethe, right? Obviously, we didn't get the political outcome that we wanted, so it must be an op. It must. God, deep state foiled us again. Really? Really? Again, this is the man that was appointed by Donald Trump to uncover the supposed crime of the century. Either there was nothing there, which is the obvious answer, or Donald Trump does not indeed choose the best people, the greatest people. Since everybody he chooses that first, he's like, oh, genius, wonderful, oh, they're going to do such a great job. And then afterwards, and I think Chris Christie had pretty much the best breakdown of this one. I know, giving props to Chris Christie is the weirdest thing. But for pointing out that all the people that Trump was like, oh, what great people that I'm hiring the best people. And then, after they leave the administration, criticizing them as dumb as a brick. Lazy as hell. Rex Tillerson, dumb. Lazy. The coffee boy. All of them. The worst people. Then why did you hire them? No, you don't hire the worst people or the best people. You hire the worst people. Apparently to you. Well, I also think some of them happen to be the worst people. But anyway. Which one do you think is more likely? Nothing there. Giant nothing burger, whatever. Or op. The right wing thinks, must be an op because I didn't get what I wanted. No, it's a complete and utter failure. This hearing was meant to fail. It was destined to fail because it was nothing more than a red meat political investigation. And pretty much a way for them to send a message. Stop investigating the right wing. It makes me unhappy. Well, sad day for you. Okay. More fun. Replace Jim with Pillow Mike and the evidence it'll be everywhere. Yeah, but then you also have to remember.
Just forget about the evidence.
Okay. Let's go to our let them fight. We got right-wing drama. All sorts of it. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and Representative Lauren Boebert got into a nasty exchange on the House floor on Wednesday. Here's a little bit of video from that.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Florida, Mrs. Luna, seek recognition?
Okay, so look, obviously you couldn't hear anything that happened, but it was not a friendly exchange. And we're going to find out more of the details later. So basically this was happening during the censure of Representative Adam Schiff. Now, this involves some colorful language exchanged, at least from Marjorie Greene, according to two sources that saw the exchange and a third familiar with the matter. The back and forth began when Lauren Boebert had approached Miss Greene, then seated in the chamber and confronted her over statements you made about me publicly. All three of the sources said Greene had at some point called Lauren Boebert a quote-unquote bitch. One of the sources said Greene called her quote-unquote a little bitch. I'm surprised no one mentioned
pussy ass bitch.
Apparently, nope, that did not get entered into it. Okay. Now, according to two of the sources, Greene stood up and alleged that Boebert had, quote, copied my articles of impeachment. To which the Colorado lawmaker said she hadn't even read Greene's resolution. Actually, that's the most believable part here. Lauren Boebert obviously doesn't read. So of course there's no there's no way she actually read Marjorie Greene's impeachment. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, there's more. The name calling was confirmed by another GOP lawmaker and another source. In fact, one says, I heard Marjorie call Boebert a bitch right to her face. said one GOP lawmaker granted anonymity. At the end, Boebert said, "Okay, Marjorie, we're through." With Boebert's back turned, Greene responded, "We were never together." Okay. I'm actually kind of shocked that Marjorie Greene did not call.
Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police
Would have taken care of it right quick, you see. Okay. There's more. Earlier on Thursday, Greene then confirmed to the Daily Beast about the quarrel. After they wrote about this, she called it, quote unquote, impressively correct. The double down. Greene also spoke with Semaphore, where she said, quote, of Boebert, "She has generally been a nasty little bitch to me." I was sitting down and I stood up and said, "I'm happy to clarify my public statements to your face." I told her exactly what I think about her. Greene also said that at one point in her fight, Boebert accused the Georgia lawmaker of accidentally spitting on her. But was it an accident, though? I don't know, but there was spittle flying. It was everywhere. Towards the end of the exchange, Boebert had allegedly, this is, again, from Greene's perspective, tried to re-engage her, but she cut the conversation off. I said, "You need to shut up, because the only person that's recognized to speak right now is Luna." This is so good. I love the drama. Let them fight. Let them fight. Tear each other apart. There's nothing quite like two unhinged far-right lunatics going at it, especially when one of the main topics, and look, let's be fair, they've been fighting for and feuding for some time now, but it really did come to a head. And what's interesting is this might be about this particular blow up, a culmination of a bunch of other things, but now the impeachment, which is essentially a virtue signal bill that both of them, for some reason, have the idea, of introducing it at the same time. I mean, I want to impeach Biden. No, I'm going to impeach Biden. Not if I do it first, bitch. It's not going to do anything. It's not going anywhere. But look, earlier in the day, Greene said that she had championed for a long time articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden. And she accused, once again, Boebert of stealing her idea. Lauren Boebert never addressed the conference. I made it clear to the conference that I have introduced articles of impeachment literally since Joe Biden's first day in office. I've been talking about it with everybody forever. Literally everyone forever till I'm blue in the face. You see me? I'm blue in the face. Literal quote.
and why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated. Peachtree dish.
Love it. Love it. Now here's the thing. I actually don't care that they're introducing articles of impeachment against Joe Biden. Because it's a ridiculous idea. It's not going to go anywhere. So go ahead and fight each other over this, virtue signal nonsense that you're going to do. I don't care. I'd rather have them do that than pass horrible bills that harm working class people, racial minorities, the LGBTQIA plus community, the typical victims of these insane people. Go ahead and file the impeachment. Don't care. You can both file it simultaneously for all I give a crap. Don't care. Don't care. And you know why? McCarthy, not in favor. Kevin McCarthy, who's the House Speaker, has already come out against the impeachment resolution, at least when it comes to Boebert. Then you have Representative Byron Donalds, another Florida Republican, who is a fellow House Freedom Caucus member, who didn't like Boebert's force the vote. That's what this is. Quote, "We do have a process of doing things. Impeachment is such is at such a high level that there should be some process for that." Oh, you know what that is? Whoa! Let's not actually do that. I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll gin up the base, but We're not actually going to do that because we're going to look like clowns. Too late for that one. Too late. Reached for comment about the exchange. Boebert didn't deny it. Here's what she said, though. And you can see that she's attempting to take the higher, classy track. We'll see how that goes. Quote, Marjorie is not my enemy. I came here to protect our children and their posterity. Joe Biden and the Democrats are destroying our country. My priority is to correct their bad policies and save America. She subsequently told CNN, quote, like I said, I'm not a middle school. Look, I'm not going to make a joke about her education because I actually think it's pretty laudable to go and get your GED. I actually don't think it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. Yes, go, get educated, get your GED. I'm actually proud of her for that. So that's a good thing. I'm not going to, knock that. But she certainly does act like she, in other cases, like a middle schooler. I mean, honestly. That's who she is. Okay? Now, for her part, and definitely I know who the most petty one here is, and that's Marjorie Greene. But again, Boebert, not that much better. Okay? Both terrible. Now, Greene told the Daily Beast, quote, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. The salt. So much salt here. It's so good. Again, let them fight. Rip each other apart. It's awesome. And maybe at some point, I'm hoping we might get to see Marjorie Greene's
Jewish space lasers.
Too good. It's too good. But wait, there's more. Loser Kari Lake is now in the middle of a fight with former Trump lawyer and COVID fart victim, Jenna Ellis. Ellis recently shared a People magazine article to Twitter, citing an anonymous source claiming that Lake is angling to be Donald Trump's running mate for 2024, which again is believable, and as such has become a frequent house guest at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, interesting. In fact, the source tells People magazine, quote, Kari Lake is there all the time. There's a suite there that she practically lives in. Okay. All right. Hey, if you want to live at Mar-a-Lago, okay. Have fun with that. Now, another source speculates that Kari is, quote unquote, working the deal. She wants something bigger, fast, to compensate for her loss in Arizona. And by the way, there's terrible things that you could take that quote there, but let me assure you, this is not
sexual anarchy.
Okay, this is purely Kari Lake trying to ingratiate herself with Donald Trump by putting money into his pockets, by staying at his resort, and constantly being there saying, hey, Donnie, I want to be your VP. Can you help me, VP? VP? But again, here's one of the issues with that, though. If she's trying to compensate for her loss in Arizona, well, wouldn't she actually have to admit that she lost Arizona?
Can't let that happen.
I'm just saying. That's just saying. So now, while Kari Lake is sucking up to Donald Trump, Ellis has been on the outs. As News points out, Ellis had received the ire of Trump supporters, including Lake, after she made some positive remarks about Governor Ron DeSantis. So Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, and a little, a bit of a, well, they're campaigning against each other. And Donald Trump has not been, well, he's been Donald Trump. So he's doing what he does best, emasculating fellow Republicans. And that's what he's been doing to Ron DeSantis. You know, he'll make like Ron DeSantis will come out with like a statement like, oh, well, I've never, gotten sued for, harassment or anything like that, for alleged rape or anything like that. No. And Donald Trump's like, yeah, cool. You're a pedophile. Okay. I mean, that's Donald Trump. That's dealing with him for you. So now look, the fighting between these two has spilled over into their surrogates. Okay. And again, Kari Lake, big Trump surrogate, obviously. And look, and by the way, like Jenna Ellis, to be fair to her, she's was not out there saying horrible things about Donald Trump. She just said one nice thing about Ron DeSantis. And that's it. Excommunicado. Like you're done. You're done. MAGA world is basically like, get the out of my house. Okay. Jenna's like, oh, damn. Okay, fine. And they've been at it, Kari Lake and Jenna Ellis ever since. All right. So now Ellis tweeted this out about Kari Lake. Quote, she's couch surfing at her friend's house like a bum college dropout. Oh, damn. The official campaign account for Kari Lake, not Kari Lake, her own account, fired back saying this, quote, we see you've entered the schoolgirl gossip part of your meltdown. But wait a minute, what's wrong? What's actually false about the statement Ellis made? I mean, she is practically living there. And yes, she's definitely interested in being a VP. In fact, there's a lot of people that are interested in that. Okay. Now Ellis replied, yet here you are, not denying it, and so triggered. Oh God, I love it when the right wing fights each other. They're vicious. It's like it's watching not just a 3-car pileup. It's better. It's better because nobody dies, for one. Watching them go at each other. Fantastic. In another tweet, Ellis asks Lake, hey, from what wing of the Arizona governor's mansion did you tweet this? Vicious. Let them fight. Now, as I said before, it spills over. Now, this fight spilled over, and you've got Laura Loomer going in to support Kari Lake. She says, Trump keeps Kari Lake close because she is loyal and effective. Effective at what? She's losing. She's a loser. Just like Donald Trump. She also added an insult about Ellis's divorce. Classy. Then, of course, Caitlyn Jenner weighed in saying this about Ellis. Quote, many say she's a disgraced, outcasted grifter. Who exactly are you referring to? Because that applies to a lot of them. Moreover, it appears she does more harm for our movement than good from her sleepy, shady tactics of attacking good, God-loving conservatives. Keep it up, Kari Lake. She loves the attention she gets from us, but sometimes just can't help myself. That's Caitlyn Jenner for you. Okay. So now when reached for comment, Ellis hit back to Newsweek, actually. Quote, if one genuinely believes, as I do, that the woke left. Here we go again. Hold on. Woke. Is destroying America, then it is difficult to imagine a more profoundly unserious person to help lead the fight to save our country than Kari Lake. Again, this is hilarious. Ain't none of you serious people. You're all clowns. Totally. Now, she then takes a dig at Stacey Abrams and says at least she lives off rich liberals. Kari Lake, among others, fools poor seniors on fixed incomes into believing they're helping her push for election integrity when in reality, they're just subsidizing her lifestyle, which apparently now includes couch surfing at Mar-a-Lago. So, now wait a minute here. Jenna, you were part of Trump's efforts to overturn the election. Again, you were with Rudy Giuliani. in these court cases that you lost over and over and over again, and pretty sure Rudy farted in your face and gave you COVID. You want to talk about, again, taking people's hard-earned money and again, making them believe that you're fighting for election integrity when you had no case, you had no facts to back up your ridiculous lawsuits filed on behalf of Donald Trump. Come on, dude. Nobody believes that. Nobody. Oh, so much projection. God, I love it. And by the way, she then also accuses Republicans of being politically correct. Quote, "Enough is enough. I am tired of the political correctness preventing Republicans from saying obvious truths." I don't know what you mean by that. Especially since a lot of people are saying obvious things. She says, Kari Lake is a political loser who undermines us. True. True. The conservative movement shouldn't be a safe space for emotionally fragile grifters. And then, of course, says, that's what university faculty lounges are for. Or at Mar-a-Lago. And I don't just mean for Kari Lake. Again, she used a phrase, emotionally fragile grifters. Who better does that really embody than our former president of the United States, the 45th? Come on. Come on. You know it. You know it. Oh, my goodness.
Can't let that happen.
The salt. It's so salty in here. I love it. Let them fight. Let them fight. Oh, my goodness. Where are these politically correct Republicans? I know. Man. Oh. You're going to love this. Banned from Truth. Hold. Banned from
Truth, Censure.
For saying Trump's hair is a mess. I believe it. Believe it. Listen, we are the snowflakes now. That's what they are. Oh, okay. Let's get to more insanity. So here we go. This is incredibly ironic. A chapter for a right-wing hate group started its first newsletter off with a bang by not just quoting a Nazi, but the Nazi. Did not see that coming. Actually, I did. The Interstar reports that the Hamilton County chapter of Moms for Liberty, a national organization recently listed as an extremist group by the Southern Poverty Law Center, introduced its first newsletter on Wednesday, The Parent Brigade, with a quote from a one Adolf Hitler? That's a screenshot there. Yeah. Well, okay. You can see that right there. He alone who owns the youth gains the future. Wow. And then, funny enough, under it says, Moms for Liberty will not be intimidated by hate groups. That's from national co-founders Tiffany Justice and Tina Deskovich. You know, it's funny because they are the hate group. I mean, that's what you are. Now, Justice and Deskovich appeared to be responding to the Southern Poverty Law Center, again, who labeled the Florida-headquartered Moms for Liberty and 11 other massively right-wing so-called parents' rights groups as organizations, as extremist groups in its annual report released earlier this month. Sarah Corkin, SPLC official, told USA Today that the movement is primarily aimed at not wanting to include our hard history, topics of racism, and a very strong push against teaching anything having to do with LGBTQ topics in schools. You know, basically erasing them from existence. Because they exist and they've always existed. Okay. So now, the irony here, lots of it. Using a Hitler quote about controlling the youth while trying to control the youth. Projection. Again, Moms for Liberty wants to erase history and ensure that factual information is not taught in schools. By the way, kind of related tangentially, right? Moms for Liberty also supporting RFK Jr. Interesting. So now here comes the backpedal after they were called out, after this went around viral. Okay. Late Wednesday night, the front page of the newsletter was updated to include what is described as context for the Hitler quote. No. But wait, context. No. The update says, the quote from a horrific leader should put parents on alert. If the government has control over our children today, they control our children's future. We, the people, must be vigilant to protect children from an overreaching government. Overreaching government. Oh, you mean the kind of government that bans books for being too gay? Oh, okay, yeah. Wait.
We have to keep our country gay.
What about banning books for being too black? Teaching critical race theory. Oh, wait, that's you guys. Oh, what about the government that bans reproductive choice and limits voting or forces one particular religion on school children? Oh, wait, again, that's you guys. Florida, Ron DeSantis and his so-called patriotic education. And again, not just in Florida, but all these different states, these red states, putting forward curriculums that are essentially labeled indoctrination. I mean, seems like it's what you guys want to do. You want to do the overreaching government and mold children into basically fascists. That's what you're trying to do. You're using the power of the state to indoctrinate children. And by the way, this is not the first time that they've tried to do this. The right wing has a long history of trying to indoctrinate young people. For example, forcing under God into the Pledge of Allegiance, which was originally not there. That was added later on in order to fight the godless communists.
Pink-haired communists.
And by the way, the Pledge of Allegiance also, with its under God shoehorned in, then was, when we were children, we were made to recite it before school, before class started. So please, don't talk about, indoctrination of the children when you're actually literally the ones that are doing it. And by the way, the Supreme Court also allowed coach-led prayers at public school sporting events at the school, again, where children, where teammates will feel pressured to join in, whether or not they actually do hold these religious beliefs. Well, you don't want to be the odd man out. Human beings are social creatures, of course. And there's a lot of pressure to fit in. If you're doing a public prayer, well, you might be afraid and you don't share that belief. Well, if I don't, then, what if I don't get chosen for this position? Or what if I get cut from the team? Stuff like that. How about putting up 10 Commandment statues up on state property? Which is what they're doing. Again, all of this, we're going to fight against the overreaching government that's trying to indoctrinate, control our children. No, that looks more like a confession of what you're doing as opposed to what you're trying to stop others from doing. By the way, earlier today, Moms for Liberty, I believe, may have apologized. Oh, So let me pull that up. We condemn Adolf Hitler's action as a stark place in human history. We should not have quoted him in our newsletter, and we express our deepest apology. Yeah. Who there thought it was a good idea to quote Hitler? I'm just saying, not a good idea. No, turns out, in fact, you do not ever have to give it to Hitler. Okay. By the way, I'm not even sure if that's an actual. I'm not 100% sure. But I did get that from Majority Report's Twitter account. Just, clarify. All right. A new report finds that the Republican war on so-called woke corporations has been funded and driven mainly by corporations whose interests happen to be threatened. So now, this was a study done by the strategic research and advisory firm Pleiades Strategy. And basically, they noted that the right wing's fight against what they call woke capitalism is partly driven by fossil fuel interests and industry allies. So what they're fighting against is ESG. So ESG, woke capitalism, the right wing says, woke capitalism is when you do environmental, social, and corporate governance. Basically, it's an investment strategy based on, that some companies are using, more and more companies are adopting to screen their investments based on environmental and social implications. So now, right wing, they don't like that. They don't like that at all. They look at ESG, which again threatens some of their industry donors, and say,
can't let that happen.
So just this year, Republican lawmakers responded to ESG in 37 states by introducing 165 pieces of anti-ESG legislation. Now, wait a minute. The first thing that I think when I think about that is, isn't that antithetical to capitalism? Because think about it. If you're supposed to have a free marketplace, right, where you can invest in whatever you want, you do these investment strategies or divestment strategies that don't make sense to the long-term health of your business. And let's be honest, you can't really have a long-term healthy long-term business if you don't have a healthy long-term environment to operate said business. Okay, and that's part of their strategy here. That's part of why they're doing this. Again, you would think that that's part of the free market, right? No, apparently the Republicans do not like the free market and have decided to use state power to crack down on companies that use ESG strategies. Now, the researchers who looked into this examined news articles, fiscal notes, and state house testimony related to each bill and found the majority of them bared strong resemblances to model bills crafted or circulated by 4 influential right-wing organizations. You're not going to be surprised because we've heard of this tactic a lot from this particular organization. The American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC. Then you also have Heritage Foundation. Then you have the Heartland Institute. Then you have the Foundation for Government Accountability. All of them are also affiliated with the Coalition State Policy Network, whose members also fought to pass punitive anti-pipeline protest laws, and who have received funding from groups linked to fossil fuel billionaires Charles and the late David Koch. So, again, you just got to follow the money here. You have these fossil fuel billionaires that are paying off politicians. Again, first paying off think tanks, these groups, and these think tanks go around and they fund politicians. They pay politicians in order to pass anti-ESG, which again would mean, and this is again the strategy of ESG, moving your investments away from fossil fuels and into more green energies, like solar, for example, wind power.
Wind.
So that really is not, we're not, they're not really against the woke corporations. They're saying, oh, the wokeness, we got woke.
Woke.
No, they're against them losing money. And that's really what it comes down to. Now, advocacy for many of the bills, according to the report, was also led by fossil fuel-tied groups, unsurprising, including the Texas Public Policy Foundation, which has accepted at least $8.8 million from organizations linked to the Copes since 2012, and has received funding from ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, and Chevron. Wow. Big surprise. Also, other fossil fuel interest groups, like the American Petroleum Institute, have supported the efforts as well. So, would you look at that? A bunch of, fossil fuel companies dumping a bunch of money to stop companies from divesting from them, to actually pass it into law that you are not allowed to divest, or else you face certain punishments by not getting, for example, state contracts and having other rules imposed upon you by the government. I thought there was supposed to be capitalism. No, apparently can't have capitalism if it's woke.
Can't let that happen.
Now, there's a good side to this, and it's how unpopular it is. Just 22 out of the 165 proposed anti-ESG bills actually progressed through state houses. According to the report, the dark money funded attacks on the freedom to invest responsibly and hit deep opposition from business, labor, and environmental advocates in state houses across the country this year, according to Francis Sawyer, founder of the Pleiades Strategy and co-author of the report. Our report shows the effort to weaponize government funds, contracts, and pensions to prevent companies and investors from considering real financial risks is not a winning platform. It's a losing platform. And look, here's the funny thing. We live under corporate rule. That's not funny. That's horrifying and terrible. But okay. So now, what you have, though, in this situation is something that happens when you have basically your government being a bunch of different corporations in a trench coat. Well, you have industries that decide to fight each other. And this is one of those issues. These investments are being made by these companies, not because of its wokeness, right? They're not actually like woke, okay?
The wokers.
What they're doing is they're making sound financial investments based on return on investment. That's really it. And so, when you look at how solar and wind, for example, are growing as industries and have grown, you look at the jobs, for example. Wind has far more people employed in the industry than coal. You have a lot of coal plants that are being taken offline. You also have regulations like Clean Power Plan that have made it so that, it's taking all these older, very dirty coal plants offline. Okay? And so you have that, but then you also have wind and solar getting much, much cheaper, more affordable as the technology progresses. And so you think, well, it's kind of a win on both fronts, right? We get to say that, hey, we're green, we're doing great, look at how much we've invested in solar and wind, and it's actually also saving us a lot of money. So it's good PR and saves money. I guess it's woke, but they don't care because it actually just makes them a lot of money. And that's the whole point. Now, also, part of this ESG involves not just environmental concerns, but also social concerns, as I mentioned. So now companies, once again, will make the decision to try to not alienate members of society using bigoted anti-LGBTQ or racist messaging or practices. Okay? Because it turns out, again, that's not a moneymaker. Being anti-trans, not a moneymaker. Being anti-black, not a moneymaker. Okay? And so it's not acceptable by society at large to be racist and bigoted. So obviously they're going to put their money into not being that way, okay? Into companies that are supportive, even if it's just supportive on the outside, you know, rainbow capitalism, for example, you know, the rainbow washing that we, you know, a lot of companies do end up engaging in, saying we're very, very supportive of the LGBTQ community. And the reason that they do that is because that's good for money, good for profits. Bad to be bigoted in today's society. And that shows how society has changed in that way for the better, even though there are people who are trying to take it back. So now, you had this, again, corporate pushback on these bills, which is why they largely lost in these places. Now, in the places where there were bills that passed, they were watered down. That said, it could have a chilling effect, and also could cost taxpayers, again, millions of dollars. So now, here's the thing about the companies that are the fossil fuel companies that are funding this response to the ESG bills, that are trying to, you know, pass all these anti-ESG bills. They're doing so because they're afraid. Climate change is real. It is happening. We're seeing the effects. Longer, drier wildfire, or, you know, wetter hurricane seasons. You have extreme weather events that are happening more often. You have sea level rise, ocean acidification, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At some point, it's going to get to where even the climate deniers can't deny what's going on. They can't deny what's happening literally in front of their face, right in front of their eyes. Okay? And so what these companies want to do before that happens, obviously they want to delay it as long as possible by muddying the waters, of course. But they're doing so to wring out as much profit as they can before everyone realizes that we've literally screwed ourselves and have to do massive damage control by completely ending our dependence on fossil fuels. And that's really it. Get as much profit, as much as possible, for as long as they can. As long as they're able to get away with it. And yes, they will use power of big government, ironically, to stop capitalism, to stop actual investment in things that companies actually want to invest in order to, you know, help their friends and to help themselves. Okay. Whew. All right. That was quite a lot of information today. So I'm going to read some super chats and some member comments and then sign off for the day. First, let's do this. Boom. Okay. Did I hear about a possible Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg cage match? I did. There is so much insanity that I couldn't possibly get to all this stuff today. By the way, on the sub filled with billionaires, not good news on that one. Not good news on that one. If you're a billionaire, I should say. But I'm sure everyone is going to be covering that. So no need here on the show. Okay, so first, let's thank Dystopian Dragon, who pointed out correctly that Donald Trump is a petulant child. True. Very, very, very true. Mr. Aeroshan, thank you for gifting a membership. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the very kind 10 gifted memberships on YouTube. Really, really appreciate that. Gabby, you were amazing. And I thank you so, so very much. Mr. Aeroshan, also the $10 super chat says, big news this week was millionaires in a sub, while thousands of refugees die at sea. Yes, I don't know why the media focused so much. And again, both are terrible stories, by the way. Both involve human beings that you know, dying in horrifying ways. I have a fear of the ocean, like not of the ocean itself, right? but of the deep ocean. I don't like it. Not a fan. I got thalassophobia, all right? Not a fan of the oceans, not the deep parts. You know, where you can be crushed like a tin can. Okay, so horrible ways to die. Running out of air or getting crushed, I mean, just, again, at these depths, the deep, dark, with all the weird sea monsters. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. Not interested. But that happening, you know, again, terrible story for the sub. Terrible, even worse story again for the thousands of people that, you know, end up dying in the ocean from being capsized, migrants that are trying to come over and make a better life. I mean, again, horrible stories. You can talk about both. Unfortunately, the media is focused on one and really not on the other. Anyway, it's pretty disastrous. Okay. Also, I mentioned Changeling DJ's comment already, but banned from True Central. True Central.
Truth Central.
Okay. Anyway, let's go over here to Twitch. Nothing new there as far as subs, bits, and stuff. Sadly, the sub was better storytelling because it had built-in suspense. Well, they were looking. And yeah, I mean, yeah, you got a pretty good point there. Because there's a chance that they could have been down there. You know, there was still air. They heard knocking sounds or whatever in the area. But again, at the end of the day, actually, you know, earlier today, they would have theoretically had run out of air before they were found, and then found debris. So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. Like I said. Yeah, until they found the debris. Yep. Ooh. Okay. So, with that, again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for going around the nation with me today. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Check out the videos if you if you came in late during the show. We'll have them posted up on our YouTube, Facebook pages. So, everybody check those out. All right. With that, we're going to raid into... I'm ready to do Hannah Reloaded. Everybody, thank you again. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you later.
Sexual anarchy.
Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
Get in a long queue with a bunch of demons.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
I have not loved this conversation.